Debra Morrison, a 42-year financial expert. Welcome to the We Can Do It Women movement, where women 50 and wiser step into the spotlight and make the rest of their lives the best of their lives. I'm your host, Debra Morrison, a wealth building expert and champion for extraordinary women just like you. For over 47 years, I've helped women secure their financial futures, and now I'm on a mission to ignite a revolution, showing the world that at 50, 60, 70, and beyond, some of us might be a nickel slower, yet we're all just getting started. And our esteemed guest today comes to us from Murrieta, California, Anna Quigley. Anna is a transformational speaker, catalyst, and founder of Journey to Purpose. She empowers individuals to break free from challenges and uncover and live their true purpose through practical tools such as intuition, love that, sensory imagination, and quantum mind-body techniques. She assists women moving through major life shifts. How about that for us, gals? Release limitations. Yeah, bring it on. Clarify next steps and create lives of authenticity, fulfillment, and impact. Anna, welcome to the show.
My pleasure. Thanks, Deborah. Good to see you.
Indeed. We're pleased to have you with us and talk to us about how you progressed. You're born in Cleveland, you're raised in Southern California after age 9, and you're drawing a lot of your life values and your purpose these days from your Midwestern values. Talk to us about those.
Well, it's hard work. It's all about hard work. Focus on that. This is what, the work ethic. And don't ask for help. That was another one, got to do it on your own. And, third child, they were like, they've done the parenting.
Exactly.
Many women will appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were two of the key things is, really you work hard, efforting, that's what's valuable. And
Yes.
I want to talk about that too in a bit, but also, that you just do it on your own. You don't ask for help. And those are two obstacles that I'm mostly gotten through now. Every so often they rear their ugly head, and pops up and they go, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Rugged individualist. All right. So you have a career in marketing management. You started an import business venture, which I guess you left California, went to Washington State to do import business, and wasn't so good. And then you returned, and you ended up in a toxic job during COVID. Walk us through that chapter.
Actually, that was one of my favorite jobs, and I got it by listening to my intuition. I had moved back to Southern California and knew I wanted to get more into marketing. I'd done operations. I'd had an import business. I was in sales early on. I got, just looking for a job out of college. So I've really been in a lot of different industries and a lot of different, actually work scenarios.
Right.
And I thought, no, I really want marketing. It included my creativity, my, all of my gifts, all of my unique gifts and skills. And I wasn't finding anything. And a part-time job popped up. And I thought, and it was in the area. And I'm like, oh, part-time, I really want a full-time job. But my intuition, everything was like, just go talk to them, just go talk to them. And so I had a meeting and he said, well, it's maybe 30 hours a week. And we had a lot of good people interview, but they all want full-time. And I thought, you know what? I can get a second job. If I'm working at Starbucks, I don't know. I will figure that out. But this is the direction I want to go. My intuition's telling me this. I'm going for it. And I started that job within all of the work they had me do within the first month. I was already working 40 hours a week to
I
get
was
it
feeling
done.
that. I was feeling that you were going
Yeah.
to
Oh
accelerate.
yeah, because my boss was the CEO. He didn't know, because I think it's probably not full time, but they hadn't had a marketing person for a while. And so I went to him and I said, hey, I've been working 40 hours a week. This is what it's taken I was updating websites and, everything that I was doing
Sure.
and prepping them to sell the company as well. And he said, well, okay, if that's what it is, that's what it is. And 9.5 years later, I was, still working in the job. It kept expanding and growing. We went through a purchase. But about a year and a half beforehand, things just started getting not great. I don't think anybody from there is going to be looking at this, but I'm pretty sure it was ageism was a big part of it.
Mhm. Yes, yes, yes.
And there were some not, you know, not great things that were going on, and it started to affect my health. My
Mm.
doctor literally was writing me a prescription. She says, take a leave of absence. You've got to take a leave of absence. And I thought that's not going to change anything. I didn't want to leave my team. For the most part, I really loved what I was doing. And it just got to the point where, no, you've got to self-care, right? I couldn't function, and I wasn't willing to. I'd had a health adventure. I call it my health adventure. I'd had cancer years before and gotten through it. In this job, they were amazingly supportive while I went through that adventure. So, it was hard to leave, but it was literally my life that
Yes.
was starting to be compromised. And I walked out and took some time for myself to get clear on what was next. Took off, went to Europe for 3 months, and just like, okay, what are you doing now? What's next? And that's
Right.
what I've learned when I've had these life implosions. The question is like, you start with the, oh, why is this happening? And what did I do? And, we take to try to take the blame. And it was like, yeah, I didn't do anything. But the question really comes down to, okay, let that go. It's
Yeah.
done. What's next?
There you go. There you go.
And focusing on the next steps. And that's what I did. And here I am speaking and coaching.
Amazing. So you kind of just skipped over I had cancer, but that's a pretty significant state of mind and being and health. How did you discover it, and how did you um, emerge victorious?
Yeah, it was something that I lifted something getting ready for a holiday party, and I felt something in my back. I go, oh, I lifted too much, lift
Yeah.
and bend, do things like that anyway. But I'm really strong and healthy. And I thought, okay, it'll go away. And a couple of weeks after, into January, into the new year, I moved in my office chair, and it was like, oh, okay. Ended up at the chiropractor. He made it worse.
Yes. Oh,
And
yeah.
I finally got to a doctor. They were going to put cement in my back because I had a compression fracture. And I'm like, I don't know about this. And, I said, oh, I need to see a back doctor. I'm not going to just put cement in my back. Let me see a specialist. And he don't do it. He literally said, you are not to go see a back specialist. So I knew I was in the wrong place.
Right now.
Right? That's not ideal medical care. And it was a process, but I ended up with a ridiculously amazing, wonderful support system. A friend had been a nurse, and I'd never heard of this. I had multiple myeloma. I'd never even heard of that disease. And I called her and I said, what is this? Do you even know what this is? And she goes, oh, my best friend back east happens to run all the clinical trials for it in the United States. So this was how that whole process went. I had what I call my living angels. These
Yes.
these support systems kept showing up, and they hooked me up and got me, directed anyway to UCSD, which is a phenomenal teaching hospital, and they have an amazing cancer center. I called, there's another one. I had been with another oncologist, and I won't go into why that was a horrible experience, but I realized I needed to go to UCSD, got a name from this person. She said, well, we don't work with them, but here's a doctor you should probably check. Wednesday at 5, I called UCSD and said, here's my story, here's what's going on. And the guy's like, oh, this never happens. Gee, 9 o'clock Friday morning, she happened to have a cancellation. That never happens. Can you
Wow.
be here? And this is the kind of the domino thing. I was so running on alignment with my intuition and knowing that I was going to get through this. And I always knew this was just something that I was going to have to live through and work with. I
Yeah.
never felt like, oh, I'm I'm doomed, even though, at that point on websites and stuff, it's, oh, you have 5 years. No. Uh,
Right.
so I went through the process, did chemo, but all the meantime, I've studied metaphysics and since I was early 20s. So I was meditating. I was mostly organic then anyway. I went full on organic. And it
Yes.
was like the best of East and West.
Mm,
And one good thing I got from the first oncologist was a visualization of here's your cancer.
yeah.
Picture a multi-flower field, multicolored flower.
1 second, your sound went out.
So the vision that the first doctor gave me was consider it your illness in a vision, a field of multicolored flowers, but up in the corner is a clump of red. That's your disease. And I thought, okay, I can work with that.
Yeah.
And I mentally went gardening. Every day, my visualization and using sensory imagination, every sense I could, I went in and I started digging up the red flowers and I was amending the soil. At one point, I took a backhoe in and I'm
Oh,
like, and then I was planting good flowers and anything and everything. So I loved going to my garden, and I would do it multiple times a day. And uh, at one point, and this was really interesting, there was, oh, I had a drone. I sent a drone over my field because I thought I'd gotten it all cleaned up, but let's just scope the whole thing. So I had a drone flying over and it picked something up on the opposite side. And it was like this weird little weed that had a really deep root. And I thought, okay, that, red flag, that's not right.
yeah.
So I went in back to my garden and I pulled that out and got the full root out. The next time I went back to my garden, it was all like grayed out. And I thought, I'm either going to die or I got it.
You
And
got it.
I got it. It
Wow.
was, but this was, finally got to the right doctor and all of that in probably May. By October, I was already in remission and did a stem cell transplant. We went ahead and did that anyway. And what they wanted to do after that, which was again the following January, is put me on maintenance meds. And my oncologist, phenomenal doctor, absolutely amazing. But she told me, she said, if you don't go on the maintenance meds, it's coming back in 2 years instead of 4. And I
Oh
said,
boy.
my body knows how to heal. It knows how to heal. And, I don't have the cancer. I'm totally in remission. There's no sign of it. Let my body just, heal from having all the toxins and whatnot. That's now over 8 years, and there is no. I talk to my doctor on a Zoom call once a year, and she just shakes her head. She goes, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." And I said,
Keep
"It's already
doing
done.
it.
It's already done." But I do still have a little visual that I run, periodically to purify my blood and make sure because it was blood cancer and to make sure. So, but no, I'm totally healthy, obviously running around doing everything I need to do. And, it's the power of the mind, what we visualize. Our brain doesn't know the difference between reality and what we fully, completely send every sense of our being visualize. So it's like, oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, I read your neuroplasticity devotee, and you distinguish and intuition from emotion, as I read it, by focusing on people's distinct energetic signatures, right? And the physical
Yes.
sensations. So interweave that for our audience, please.
The rational mind is really important. It keeps us on track, but it also wants to just steamroll things too. It's like, no, you're going to go this way. And sometimes people get the rational mind, and it's easy to have happen confused with where intuition is coming, but it is a different frequency. It's a
Right.
different energy, and intuition comes through all of our senses and learning to listen to those senses, recognize what that your little voice is, or what
Yes.
those gut feelings are, or recognizing sensory signs, images that are repetitive, all of that can help you really clarify between that and the rational mind that's going, well, no, you really should go this way. You really
Right.
should do this. You should take care of this. And it's like, yeah, no, I'm feeling like this is the better path. So it's alignment with that, but there is an energy difference. And the more you practice it, the more you practice listening to intuition, recognizing it, the easier it becomes. So it's a
Yeah.
skill that can be developed and enhanced.
Mhm. Yeah, you talk about, well, let me ask you, what question might you pose for a woman who's not yet into fully trusting her intuition because sometimes we're afraid of it. So how would you guide a person to take that first step?
Well, it is not woo-woo, and I have a lot of scientific data to document how that is working with the mind. But honestly, what I suggest is start playing with it. I tested it in my early 20s. I'm like, I don't know, is this real? And sent myself on a shopping trip, stopped in multiple places because my intuition said go here.
Yes.
And I got to that place and they didn't have the product. And I was walking out, and the little voice said, well, just ask. And I'm like, did I? It's not going to be there. They're going to tell me if it's not in the store, we don't have it. And took another step, and intuition's like, just ask. I thought, all right, this is a test. And I went to the counter and I was told, oh, yeah, we got that in this morning. We just haven't had a chance to put it out. And I
So
knew I knew I was onto something.
right now, right now.
So
Well,
test it, play with it, and track it. Start paying attention. Write down when it happens, because in 2 days you're going to forget. What was that thing? I had an impulse. I had an instinct. What was that? And you
yeah,
start building confidence and faith.
yes, yes. And that subconscious is going to serve us up more and more once we pay attention to it. So let
Absolutely. It's talking to us all the time. It's sharing, it's talking to us, there's yeah. It's phenomenal. The guidance. I mean, it helps me run Saturday errands, streamlines things. You're
yeah,
walking out the door, if you've ever had that, oh, I just had a thought. That's not the rational mind.
that's right.
Oh, it just dawned on me I could do this.
Yes.
That's not the rational mind. That's our intuition based on experience, yes, based on a lot of different things, but that's intuition. That's not, I'm planning this. I'm going to rationally figure out what the steps are. So
Yeah.
we love it. I could have had a V8 moment kind of
Yes,
thing.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Well, this time has flown by as I knew it would, and I appreciate your sharing your wisdom with us. You are kind enough to offer our viewers your second act playbook, and we'll put that in the show notes. But this is going to help, if you will, for people that will be assisted by your templates and suggestions as to how to get started. Yes?
How to get started, how to start uncovering your unique gifts, because that's a big key. It starts with that. As not just as women, but quite often we dismiss, and again, it goes back to that work ethic. What you have to really work hard for is what we were taught was the most valuable, and we have it backwards.
That's
It's
right.
the innate gifts that we're born with. Those are what are going to lead us to our purpose. Those are what we're here to give and to share, and that's that's the whole point of that. And this will help give them some questions to start leading them down the path.
Totally. So, how can our viewers reach you the best way, Anna?
The simplest way is they can go to secondactplaybook.com. They can download that. It's got my email. It's got ways that they can reach out to me to have an insight call or work with me as a coach. So I'm happy to help in any way I can. This is my passion
Well,
and
it's
my
evident.
purpose.
It's evident. You're living and breathing it, and it's evident in your speaking about it. And so I thank you for sharing that with us. And this time, it's been special indeed. And I thank you, viewers, for tuning in and joining us on the We Can Do It Women show. Remember, I see you, I value you, and your greatest chapter is just beginning. So if today's episode sparks something in you and Anna's gutsiness in proceeding and trusting her intuition, I invite you to look inside and listen for those small voices which will become larger and more vocal and more pronounced as you exercise that pattern. And do yourself a favor and get into the space of being in congruency with your soul, your heart, your values, your being, your purpose. I want you to have the next chapter be your best with absolute certainty. And practice makes Practice makes perfect, does it not? Thank you for joining us. And
My pleasure.
I want to remind each of us that when we pay attention to our money, it will pay us back. Thank you so much. Good day.